She looked at me and said, "You really do wear boxer shorts." Stirring the coffee with the K Bar tactical chopsticks of truth using the vortex method, the only true way to optimize the taste of your coffee at the molecular level. Good morning. Welcome to the Daybreak Show. I am the Sultan. We'll get started, but first, Ethiopian coffee.
Nice.
Beautiful. I've always loved Ethiopian. It's my first cup. Imagine a job where you get up, you don't comb your hair, you walk downstairs and press record. Second cup will be a bulletproof cup with a little more than a teaspoon of Irish butter, unsalted, and a half a teaspoon of Sacred 7 mushroom mix. So I'm looking forward to that second cup. Can you imagine having a virtuous relationship, virtuous marriage? We hear about virtuous women, right? Proverbs 31, a virtuous woman who can find. We've heard about these 7 heavenly virtues. I talked a few weeks ago about let's change the conversation from a high value man to a high virtue man. So let's talk about a virtuous relationship. Can it be even possible? In Christian tradition, the 7 heavenly virtues combine the 4 cardinal virtues, and I'm going to list them for you right now. Prudence is number 1. That's not a word we use much in everyday life, is it? All that really means is you think before you act. You take care. You are care-filled when you make a choice. So what you're doing is you're relying on the Lord to make good choices. Regarding what? Marriage, children, where you're going to live, what you're going to do with aging parents, how you're going to respond to aging parents. There's a million questions. Everything right up to what are you going to do for dinner tonight? Prudence, making good choices. Justice. How do you practice justice? Well, you can practice social justice. Justice in the home would be kind of like positive reinforcement, which is probably the best way to create justice, but there has to be consequences for everything, somehow, some way. Now, whoever becomes the person that executes, the justice, that it all depends. If your wife did something wrong, my ex writes me, texts me, and says, we were like Ricky and Lucy. I was always getting into trouble, and you were the voice of reason. So there were times when I would say, calm down, when there could have been some histrionic stuff. But rather than like yelling or doing something like that, why not be the voice of reason? And can the voice of reason administer justice? Sure. Is it vindictive? No. When you look at behaviorism, not to get too behavioral on you, when you look at behavioralism, the first rule is this, that behavior that gets rewarded gets repeated. Interesting, right? If you just let things slide by in any relationship, then that means you're tolerating certain behavior. If you want more behavior, you do what? You give more reinforcement for that behavior. I like it when you touch me like that. I like it when you say things like that. I like how we just got along. I appreciate you bringing my coffee by 6 o'clock. Whatever. Just pick something. Temperance. Now, there's another word we don't use much of in this day and age. Temperance, all it means is self-control. Can a marriage or a relationship exhibit temperance? Can it exhibit self-control? Well, if it's true that the 2 shall become 1, then that marriage, that committed, long-term, lifelong relationship is now acting as 1. I mean, think about it. When it comes to tax time, are you filing, independently, filing single, or are you filing as married? There's differences. It's weird. There's different consequences for being single. There's different consequences for being married. When it comes to the actual marriage itself, think about this. The 2 are 1. So can the marriage make choices? Can the marriage exhibit self-control? It can. Why would a guy stay out late with his buddies and not be attending to his wife or family? Why would a wife go on girl vacations, leaving her husband in a mystery? Where do you think the phrase, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, came from? What happens in Key West stays in Key West. What happens on vacation stays on vacation. There has to be self-control on both parties. When one person sins against the other, they're sinning against themselves. Remember yesterday I said, wives, ladies, get into your man's arms and say, have a great day, my king, and watch him light up. Conversely, who is the female counterpart to a king? A queen. So when you treat your man like a king, he will treat you like a queen. So you're literally doing something to yourself when you're good to your husband. We practice self-control, justice, prudence. It all comes back to us. So why not practice that in our relationships? Fortitude, there's another virtue. That's another word we don't hear very much of these days. Fortitude just means guts. Can you take risks? People are defiling marriage left and right. They used to do it secretly. Now they just agree on it. And it's crazy. Guys encouraging their woman to be with another man and this kind of stuff. Like, really? It's like the exact opposite of what I teach. Fortitude, guts. It takes guts to have a decent marriage. Some people might say any man getting married today is foolish. I'm not going to go that far. But I understand. Understand. And then lastly, the three theological virtues of faith, hope, and charity. Faith, hope, and charity. Can a marriage be filled with faith? Of course. If two people believe in God, if two people practice things in faith. I mean, a farmer plants seed in an empty field, already planning on many months later having a harvest there. A man plants a seed in a woman, and they start nesting. It's natural. That's hope. That's faith. That's believing in something that doesn't yet exist. Hope. Nobody ever gets married thinking that they want to get divorced. You hope that the marriage will make it a lifetime. Till death do you part. And then charity. That's not a word we use every day, charity. We use the word love. But whenever you see the word charity, think love. What is the word charity? How is the word charity used today? You're giving to the Salvation Army. You're giving to a cancer group. You're giving to a thrift store. You write off your donations to charities, that type of thing. You register for a charity to give to them on a regular basis. But that all comes back to the word. Do you show charity in your life? There's people that are better at writing checks to charities than they are to loving their wife or their husband. Showing charity rather than writing a check to charity. Gee, what a concept, right? A friend writes me yesterday, a friend who shall remain anonymous, says the problem with marriage is divorce. When there's an out, people won't work at all. If the premise we're never getting out of this is present, people will do what they can to make their marriage happy. My grandparents had an arranged marriage. There's no getting out. There's one Christian fellow on Instagram, and I believe he's also on YouTube. And he says, just marry a woman that doesn't believe in divorce. I married a woman that didn't believe in divorce. I've been broken up with by women who didn't believe in divorce. And so have you. Nobody ever gets married thinking, till divorce do we part. The vows mean nothing. That's why if I do it again, I'm going to have to really get some premarital vows counseling. Both of us. Butter baby, it's okay. It's only your brother. So the problem with marriage is divorce. People giving up, people tapping out, people saying, oh, that's it, I'm done. I'll say it again. To quote them, when there's an out, people won't work at it. If the premise exists that we are never getting out of this, people will do what they can to make their marriages happy. And thank you, my friendly acquaintance, for sending that. I did keep you anonymous with that. The grass may be more fun on the other side, temporarily, but it's never greener. Ladies, work it out with your man, your OG. Better to work things out with your husband than to leave. Be the beloved wife. And he will treat you like a beloved wife. I've always loved this line by Richard Bach: what the caterpillar calls the end of the world, the master calls a butterfly. I love that. Little lesson from nature. Think about that for a second. A lesson from nature. That caterpillar, think about this, the caterpillar creates a cocoon. It's the end of the caterpillar as we know it. How many of us have gone into our cocoon thinking that that is the end when God had a different plan? And then you started this metamorphosis, this changing of things. You're not the same person now that you were when you went through your pain. You're different. You're stronger now. I've always believed that you possess the keys to unlock your best life. One listener says, I've watched your videos years ago when I was in a dark time, having delusions of being in prison, complaining about my life and not being amazing. When you said, when you feel like you're in prison in your mind, remember that you have the keys to get out, or something along those lines. My mind took a turn and I started thinking properly with that mindset, and I started changing my life. And thank you for sending that. I appreciate that. Here's a pop quiz. This is going to get all kinds of answers. Why is makeup sex so good? You know, like when you break up with somebody, and then when you finally come back together, the sex is insane, crazy, and you really get that love feeling again. Why is it so good? It's no different than other times that you've made love, right? But why is makeup sex so good? Put your answer down below. I'd love to hear that. I have some ideas, but I'd like to see what you think about that. Did you ever wonder why some people end up with some people? You look at some men, and they might not be with a woman who you would think they would be with, right? Or vice versa. But let's talk about men, because this is a men's channel. Imagine that, a men's channel. A man talking to men. What a concept. A man settles where he has peace. Not beauty, not youth, not youthful beauty, but peace. Ladies, are you looking for a man? Be a woman of peace. And look if you're a lady out there and you're not a supermodel, which most of you aren't, because most of us aren't supermodels, be a woman of peace. You will attract men like a magnet, because men, we're out there fighting. We're bearing the sword. We're out there just crushing it. We're going to masterminds. We're working on ourselves. We're becoming the best version of ourselves. It's a crazy world. You know what calms me down at the end of the day? Not beauty, not youth, not youthful beauty, but peace. Peace. Be a peaceful woman. A man settles where he has peace, not struggle. And with that, finish your coffee, and I'll see you on the next Daybreak Show, your home of sanity, post-nut clarity, and reason.
Całunków tyle dałam szaławile, a on przenajsłodsze chwile podarował mnie. Mrużył czarne ślepie, śpiewał mi o stepie, a mnie było z nim najlepiej, a bez niego źle. La 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 la.